We're looking at the history and development of capital city Kingston on this fine Saturday. Thanks for tuning in to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. It's the eve of the state funeral for the late former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Edward Philip George Seaga. As the nation prepares to say farewell, we reflect on his mark on the constituency he served for over 4 decades. There's more between the pages. Stick around to experience it all right after this break.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the 4 corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. Your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
Jamaica's capital city is in another transformational phase as the redevelopment of downtown Kingston gains momentum and the city's skyline begins to change with new buildings going up. As we look to the future state of this vibrant city, history reminds us that this downtown area was once merely an undeveloped plot of land near the sea. Let's take a look at how things have changed over the years.
Over the centuries, Kingston has transformed with more appealing features and sturdy buildings, while preserving its historically grand architectural structures. At the center of downtown Kingston, the powder blue Ward Theatre flanks Parade on the north. To the east, Coke Methodist Church. The first Methodist chapel built in Jamaica, the beautiful Kingston Parish Church sits south, and westward is Coronation Market, the largest and most frequented in the island. Kingston remains the seat of power and the main port of entry to the island, with the Norman Manley International Airport perched on the breathtaking Palisado Strip. Beyond that is the quite laid-back historic Port Royal, with its interesting tourist attractions and fine seafood restaurants, fort, and museums displaying major archaeological findings. With its grandiose meeting place, public green space, and alluring harbour front, Kingston has much to offer. This city, the center of financial and commercial activity, has a rich history as a place for entertainment and other social events. Whether it's that relaxing moment in the cool with a wonderful view of the harbor, or partying under the stars, a hotel ballroom event, or a walk with nature, Kingston has an oasis for everyone. And as birthplace of our world-renowned reggae music, it also sits proudly as the epicenter of the island's musical and artistic culture. Trenchtown, the origin of many important reggae bands, including the Wailers, the Heptones, and the Abyssinians. The National Gallery, housing the leading art collection in Jamaica with important artworks produced chiefly by Jamaican artists, along with some international masters. Today, residents of both parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew are considered citizens of Kingston. This has been the case since the merger in 1923 of the local government bodies of both parishes to form the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, the KSAC. The KSAC, with its full-time administrative staff, manages the affairs of the parishes based on its own policy, the KSAC Act, and other laws and regulations defining its duties and powers. These include partnering with various departments and agencies of central government to provide general services for both Kingston and St. Andrew, referred to as the corporate area. Kingston, the smallest of Jamaica's parishes, covers an area less than 22 square kilometers, but together with St. Andrew, occupies 452.4 square kilometers. This sprawling urbanized area is the most densely populated of the parishes. During the 1960s, the fortunes of Jamaica's capital city had a major shift. With an increase in rural to urban migration, the city expanded to the north, where residential structures were converted for offices and other commercial purposes. New Kingston and Constant Spring developed to become new office nodes and business centers. City Kingston now has to regain lost grounds, and a rebuilding mode has been set in motion by governments over the years. That involves upgrading of the city's roadways and the creation of new ones, along with improvements to the waterfront. The rise of a series of multi-story buildings with modern architectural taste, apartment complexes, shopping arcades, restaurants, banks, and new office spaces are all planned. Old buildings in the city are being restored, and the stocks of housing in communities are being renewed. As this active transformation of the city gains momentum, its historic architectural character is being preserved as national monuments. There is now new life flowing through the area, as businesses are again seeing the capital as their home. And with its large natural harbor and ports, it's fast becoming the port of choice by shipping interests worldwide. This is Kingston, the city which hath foundation.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your eat.
Keep the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Our Kingston exploration shifts now to the grouping of communities in its western boundaries. Like the rest of the city, this area has undergone significant transformation over time. Today, though, we focus on those landmarks that owe their existence or improvement to the former Member of Parliament, affectionately called Papa Eddie by the residents.
Back a wall, slum, dump, sewage-filled roads. A few of the descriptions that depicted a constituency that only required a vision for transformation that would be fulfilled by a non-resident who had taken a liking to the people and their customs.
50 years ago, what stood here was the largest slum in the English-speaking Caribbean, where there was no infrastructure, no housing, no water, no roads, no lights. And what you have had is a modern community.
It is phenomenal. There is no words I can use to express the infrastructural development that has taken place. And because the development has not completed, so you can clearly see the contrast of where the people are coming from to where they are going. Seaga will speak about says he's going to take care of the people from the womb to the tomb. You know, that's something that he's very famous for. And he's not only have said it, he's actually lived up by it, because within the constituency, there's a maternity center. That's where I personally was born. My mother gave birth to me at the Caenwood maternity center in Tivoli Garden. We do have our own health facility, our own health center here in Denham Town. The Golden Age Home is something that I personally love.
Seaga has taught us a lot, gave us a lot, because the house where I live in, Seaga give my mother that.
Then the housing stock understands the importance of lifting the spirit, the mind of the people in terms of changing their social environment. So his plan is to take us from the tenement yard that he came and found us in, with sewage water running on the streets, to take us into a modern facility where we have inside shower. Parents and children don't have to share the same bedroom facility area. The cultural program is very big on culture, very big on sports, and as a result, there's a lot of talent that came out of the constituency and out of Denham Town, largely because of his love and belief of culture.
As a young girl growing up, he used to take me like to Chakamolan to recite. Like flowers on my shoulders, slippers on my feet, ring on my finger, and mama's darling there. Do you think I'm sweet as a little black girl growing up? Thanks to Mr. Seaga.
Chakamolan, as history I've said it, Chakamolan is an instrumental point in the beginning of our music, modern music industry in Jamaica. And a lot of entertainers came out of Chakamolans right here in Denham Town.
This community center is a living testimony to what he did.
People lived in discarded cars, bits and pieces of scrap metal and cardboard tied together. Here was a nest where the worst criminals gathered and stamped their image on the face of West Kingston. What we set out to do was to reverse the process of decay, to demonstrate that even the wasteland of Bacawal could be reclaimed.
If Mr. Seaga had not decided to be our representative, the transformation that has taken place would not have taken place.
Previous magazines have revealed what transpired at various locations in the corporate area where the body of Edward Seaga has been lying in state. Our teams were also in western Jamaica and Ocho Rios to capture those moments. Take a look.
Hundreds of Jamaicans flocked to the Montego Bay Cultural Center, where Member of Parliament for West Central St. James, Marlene Malahoo Fort, and Mayor of Montego Bay, Homer Davis, were among those who came to pay their respects to the late former Prime Minister.
I'll always remember the kind invitation he extended to me for a long sit-down, giving me the history of the Labour Party, giving me his advice on nation building. Many of the institutions that are now contributing to the development of Jamaica were as a result of the work he did. He did not equivocate in terms of what he wanted for Jamaica. And today, in death, we celebrate his life.
He had done great things for this parish. The soon-to-be-built Close Harbour Beach, it was his conceptualization of reclaiming the waterfront of Montego Bay. The free zone that we now boast about, it was his brainchild. And so his mark in Montego Bay and St. James will be indelible.
What is remarkable about the gentleman? I'd say 4 things. 1, his respect and care and concern for the humble people of Jamaica. This was something that characterized all his work. His mind was sharp, and he was very intolerant of, any kind of, what you might call, idea that he didn't feel was logical or supportive of what he was doing on many occasions. But he always had time for the poor and humble of this country. But more critically, the institutions that Edward Seaga built is the institution that will have to provide the driving force behind the development of the country and the fund and the prosperity and growth that we seek to bring to Jamaica. Institutions like the Development Bank of Jamaica, Export-Import Bank, the HART National Training Agency organization, these are fundamentally the UDC and a number of others that is now required to lead the way in really building the nation and creating prosperity for all our people.
I think he has left behind a tremendous and an enviable legacy that young Jamaicans can model after as we move forward in the continuation of the development of Jamaica as a nation.
Well, there's a lot of things I admire about Mr. Seaga. For starters, he was a visionary. He dreamt big dreams, but realistic dreams. He showed commitment, a very steely determination. He was passionate about what he believed in, and at all times his beliefs were in the interest of developing the country and making the Jamaican people better off. And he fought diligently for that, for human rights, equal rights, education, training, major institutions like HART, which he created, which has benefited so many Jamaicans.
As a region, as a ministry, we pay respect to the former Prime Minister, Edward Seaga, and all the work that he has contributed to the development of this island.
My name is Melita Daly. Born June the 10th of June, 1926. I have this picture over 50 years because I got the picture and I keep it in my house. Oh, he was a beautiful man. He built Jamaica, and may God rest his soul in peace.
I am Viola Dennis. I am 77. And Mr. Seaga was a very compassionate person to me, and I love him, and this is my token from him.
Mr. Seaga is a role model. He's a person who, for the people, is Jamaican 5th Prime Minister, who is one of the most incredible one I can think of. May God bless him. His whole rest in peace.
He make a stay for one place, couple years well, and a man where came to school and things. So a very, very good Prime Minister.
Marcus Garvey Reburial in Jamaica. Yeah, that was very nice. And also the stock exchange, and many of those good stuff that he has done. So I pay my due respect.
Low, what? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Inside, outside, stand still.
We're here at the St. John's Anglican Church in Ocho Rios for the lining state of the late former Prime Minister Edward Philip George Seaga. This is where the members from this side of the island are able to pay their respects to the late former Prime Minister. Notable members of Parliament and ministers who attended the Ocho Rios leg of the viewing were Minister Shahini Robinson of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security and Minister Bobby Montego of Transport and Mining. Mayor Michael Belnavis was also in attendance, along with Member of Parliament Dr. Norman Dunn.
Mr. Seaga was in from the by-election of 2001. Prior to the by-election, he came into this seat and he stayed here with me until the day of the election. He was a father. He was everything to me. In that by-election, it means a lot, much more. So it's symbolic because I won it on the 8th of March 2001.
I want to speak to the man and his contribution to rural Jamaica, being a rural person myself. And Mr. Seaga was a very, what you would call, strategic thinker. He was born on the 28th, he died on the 28th. He was born in America, he died in America. To me, he has a smile on his face right now. Or while he's thinking about it, he's taking out his little comb and giving the little brush and making a note in his little black book. His work in rural development, in doing his studies in Buxton in St. Catherine, and then from that to help to develop communities, the festival movement, the 100 Village program, doing Heart, MIDA, Self-Start Fund. These are things that speak to rural development and giving rural people a chance to shine.
I can say without any contradiction that this man is the man who actually caused me to enter politics. I mean, what he stood for epitomizes what Jamaica is, and I believe that his life has been shown to be such an important moment in our history generally, because he has contributed to so much institutions that have shaped Jamaica where we are today.
When I first met him, I was moved by his compassion and his forthrightness. Quite honestly, Mr. Seaga was an individual that was very meticulous in the things that he did, and that resonated with me. His contribution has to be what the works in Ocho Rios here. As you know, Ocho Rios is a small fishing village, and he has essentially made Ocho Rios into a great resort town and one of the major tourist destinations in the hemisphere. He did his contribution to Turtle Towers, the entire Bay Beach, the attractions around, the look and feel, and has created what is considered to be a tourism mecca on the North Coast.
He bring this Ocho Rios from a fishing village to a little Miami. And when the big storm them come down on the truck, people say, no, he cannot do certain things. And right now, him dump up the place and have hotel and, drainage and all those things and make the place look nice. So I appreciate that work a lot.
As we mentioned earlier, the state funeral for the late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga will be held tomorrow, June 23. It will involve several ceremonial rites and protocols in keeping with other occasions formally denoted as state events. Here are some of the strict rules that persons must follow. National honors, service decorations or medals should be worn by the recipients on the day. The full-size badge should be worn and not the miniature replica. Uniformed officers from organizations such as St. John's Ambulance, Red Cross, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, and Cadets should wear black crepe or cloth armbands on the left sleeves. Sedate colours and modest attire are suggested for men and women in attendance. As the coffin leaves the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity, the Guard of Honour, mounted by one of the battalions of the Jamaica Regiment, will give a general salute. During this general salute, persons present should stand silently at attention. During the walking procession to the National Heroes Park, when the gun carriage draws abreast of spectators along the route, those in plain clothes should stand silently at attention and remove headdress if worn. Uniformed personnel should come to attention. All civilians should remain on the outer boundaries of the uniformed streetliners and follow the instructions given by the marshals throughout the procession. During the 19-gun salute for Mr. Seaga, all persons should behave appropriately and respectfully in both sound and movement. Members of the public are being advised that there will be traffic changes along major thoroughfares on Sunday, June 23, to facilitate the state funeral. South Camp Road between Marion Road in front of the traffic court and East Queen Street and all roads leading on will be closed to vehicular traffic from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Only persons attending the funeral will have access. Traffic travelling using South Camp Road near Up Park Camp will be diverted onto Marion Road to use Upper Ellitson Road, Victoria Avenue, East Queen Street on their outward journey. Traffic travelling from the direction of East Queen Street or Victoria Avenue intending to use South Camp Road will not be allowed. North Street between South Camp Road and Church Street and all roads leading on will be closed to vehicular traffic. Access will only be given to motorists attending the funeral. East Street will be closed between North Street and South Heroes Circle. The same for Duke Street between Charles Street and South Heroes Circle. In addition, Moresco Road between Caledonia Road and Duke Street at South Heroes Circle will be closed. Residents of Allman Town and Kingston Gardens are to exit and enter their communities by using Arnold Road, with special accommodation to be made in cases of emergency. This is where the curtains close on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We are committed to keeping you informed, so join us tomorrow for more. Until then, you may continue to watch this and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.